Good afternoon and welcome to the City Club of Eugene's May 16th, 2025 program on the Oregon Country Fair. My name is Andrew Kallick and I'm City Club's president. We're coming to you from our home at the historic Wow Hall in the heart of downtown Eugene, and it's my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to our speakers and to all of you joining us here in person, online, and over the radio. Since 1990, City Club has been dedicated to our founding mission to build community vision through open inquiry. In accordance with our mission and purpose, we hope to help connect people throughout our community and across generations, identities, experiences, and perspectives. You are invited this week and every week to join us in this effort to share your wisdom, learn something new, and take active steps to make a difference in this city and region that we love. Of course, we cannot do this work alone, so a special thank you to our Platinum, Community, and Diamond sponsors. Kaiser Permanente exists to provide high-quality, affordable healthcare services and to improve the health of our members and the communities we serve. More information at www.kp.org. The University of Oregon has helped Oregonians question critically, think logically, reason effectively, communicate clearly, act creatively, and live ethically since 1876. More information at uoregon.edu. Lane Community College transforms lives through learning. LCC provides comprehensive, accessible, high-quality educational opportunities that promote student success. For more information, visit lanecc.edu. And thank you to the City of Eugene and to Lane County for their support as well. The last time we heard from the Oregon Country Fair was 2014. It has been too long. Let's not make it 11 years again. But we're very lucky to have three leaders from the Country Fair here with us today to talk about what's been happening over there and a little bit about the past, present, and future of this community institution. We're joined by Kirsten Bolton. She's the executive director of the Oregon Country Fair, has been since July of 2021, and she moved into this role after serving as the general manager of the Eugene Saturday Market. We're also joined by Paxton Hogue. He's a coordinator and board member for the Oregon Country Fair. He started his Oregon Country Fair experience in 1969 when he saw a poster for the Oregon Renaissance Fair, went to an organization meeting and a work party before attending. And here you are all these many years later, Paxton. Arna Shaw is a vendor and board member of the Oregon Country Fair. She first became involved also in 1969 when she and a friend operated a food booth selling veggie burgers. She later became the first paid general manager of the fair and serves on the board's giving committee, helping with the board's donations to the community. Welcome, all three of you, to City Club. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting Oregon Country Fair to your Friday program. And thank you to the Oregon Public Broadcasting for featuring us on Oregon Art Beat and Oregon Field Guide. Both programs will premiere July 10th. They were produced during last year's fair. My name is Kirsten Bolton, and I am the executive director of the Oregon Country Fair. I have been with the organization since 2021. I'm originally from Anchorage, Alaska, and I moved here 12 years ago to get away from the cold and the dark. My professional background is media and business management. While in Alaska, I was the general manager of a local television station. I started an advertising agency that I managed for several years, and I was the director of sales for a radio station group. Since moving to Eugene, I served as the general manager for the Eugene Saturday Market for 4 years. Then I jumped over to Oregon Country Fair to become their executive director. And I'm honored to serve in this role for this organization. I get to help create joy for thousands of visitors to the fair while also supporting our local economy and community. And we are here today to share some of that joy with all of you. With me today is Arna Shaw, our vice president and board member. She's been a major contributor to the organization for many years and was our first paid general manager. She will speak about our philanthropy. Paxton Hogue, a current board member, is also here with us today. He has been on the board many times over the years and been in leadership roles since the 1970s. He will speak about our programs, specifically KOCF and Culture Jam. Our event this year is July 11th, 12th, and 13th. We started in 1969 as a benefit for an alternative school. The Oregon Country Fair has a rich and varied history of supporting the arts, performance promotion, educational opportunities, land stewardship, and philanthropy. For over 50 years, we have held our event on our 500 acres in Veneta. This will be our 56th fair. As some of you may remember, we started as the Oregon Renaissance Fair, which was held in the fall. It was not long before we renamed the event to the Oregon Country Fair and moved the date to the first weekend in July. We do adjust the date to the second weekend in July when the 4th of July falls near the first weekend. We are an independent 501c3 nonprofit, charitable, educational, and philanthropic organization with a handful of year-round employees and a family of thousands of dedicated volunteers, artisans, and entertainers. We have a 12-member board of directors, and we own the land on which the fair is held. We are organized around 65 volunteer work crews that put on the fair. On average, we have 5,000 volunteers every year that participate. We are happy to say we survived the pandemic. We are grateful for the federal assistance programs that allowed us to return in 2022. We were awarded the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant in the amount of $1.9 million. After the pandemic, the board decided to set an attendance limitation on our event to focus on sustainability and to be good stewards of our land. This helped us put on a scaled-down event with 10,000 visitors per day. In 2023, we raised our attendance to 15,000 visitors per day. We are limited to 35,000 people on property per day. As you can imagine, this requires a lot of infrastructure to support. We create a small city in the forest. We have all the services needed to run this city. We have a water system, a fire department, a medical facility, sanitation, waste management, recycling, communications, food service, and security. In addition to all of this, we program 17 stages, host 80 food booths, and over 350 artists that sell their one-of-a-kind creations. We have a jury process for our artists, and we accept roughly 40 new artists every year. They must demonstrate that they handmade their product, and they must be the person selling it during the event. We don't allow any art or craft that is commercially produced. Our food booths make all meals on site from fresh, local ingredients. Our economic impact in Lane County is estimated to be a minimum of $10 million. People travel from around the world to attend Oregon Country Fair, and we sold tickets to people from every state in the United States last year. Our budget to put on the event is roughly $4 million. After expenses and set-asides for the next year's startup costs, we give our profit to local nonprofits that focus on art, education, and environmental causes in Lane County, with a special focus on Veneta and Elmira area. Over the years, we have given away approximately $1 million. Arna will now provide a deeper look at our philanthropic efforts. Arna.
Hi, so I've mostly been introduced here. I will say that my first fair was a fall fair in 1969, where I and a lot of my friends who I lived with made veggie burgers. It was cold and rainy. I slept under a flatbed truck because I didn't own a tent. I remember sitting up in the night and hitting my head. We argued about who was going to form the patties because it was so cold and nobody wanted to do it, but we had a great time. Next year we sold halva. Our sign was last halva before the desert, and that was also a great time. Then I started weaving and started a weaving business, and then we started selling my weaving. I've done almost everything at the fair except be an entertainer, because I'm really not very entertaining. So I've been a craftsperson at the fair, I've been a volunteer, as some, has been mentioned, I was the first paid general manager, and I'm currently on the board. So that's my background, and I'm not going to be as entertaining as that little video that you guys saw about the fair, because I don't do that work. So at this time, the fair has 4 philanthropic endeavors: the Bill Wooten Endowment Fund, the Jill Hyman Vision Fund, Culture Jam Youth Camp, and the Board Giving Program. The Oregon Country Fair has always been centered around philanthropy and education. The first fair was a fundraiser for a community school. In the early days of the fair, before we bought the land, we used to just rent it. And after each fair, the board kept some money for startup and gave away all the rest of the money. Whatever was left, we gave it to the local nonprofits and charities. I remember those meetings because some of them occurred in my living room, since my spouse was on the board at that time and the fair didn't have an office. It may not have been much money in those days, but it showed our commitment to the community. When we, so as I said, that was back when we rented the land. And we used to have everything off the property by the Wednesday after the fair. But once we bought the land, we started having land payments, building infrastructure, and having maintenance. We stopped giving away money after each fair right then. But in 1990, we paid off the land. And in 1991, we started talking about philanthropy again. But nothing moves quickly at the fair, so it took until 1993 for us to start the Bill Wooten Endowment Fund. As I say, the Endowment Fund is one of the 4 philanthropic funds, programs the fair runs. The Endowment Committee focuses its giving on the Fern Ridge area, or, the fair's neighborhood. Their mission statement is, the purpose of the OCF endowment is to contribute to the educational and cultural resources of Western Lane County by supporting youth-focused programs in the fair's home community of Fern Ridge. Funded projects reflect the fair's commitment to the arts. We support projects that promote the arts, education, and cultural diversity, work toward creating a peaceful, just, and environmentally sustainable society, build community through collaborative efforts within the Fern Ridge area. Over the years, the endowment has given to both Veneta and Elmira elementary schools for different art projects. We've given to the Fern Ridge Middle School to buy instruments so more students could participate in band. We helped buy ukuleles because they're easy to learn and are considered gateway instruments, and allowing youth to progress to more difficult instruments. We donated to Elmira High School for a writing and spoken word residency. We contributed to an immersive summer camp all about art, run by Lane Arts Council. One parent commented, "This is one of the best camps my daughter has ever been involved in." Last year, we funded the Smart Reader programs in Veneta and Elmira Elementary School, providing books, staffing, and support for volunteers. We fund from 3 to 6 programs a year through the endowment, and these are just a few of them. We've been doing them since 1993. So we've been doing this for 36 years, and it adds up to numerous programs and lots of happy, creative youth. The second program I'm going to tell you about is the Jill Hyman Vision Fund. Both the endowment and the Vision Fund were named after people who were vital to the fair. Bill Wooten was one of our founders, and Jill Hyman was our first attorney, who worked for us for pennies and was responsible for getting us our 501(c)(3) and getting us a quarter of the down payment for our land. Some of you may know the story of how she did that. I'm going to tell you about those of you who don't. Back in the early 80s, the county decided we needed to hire more sheriffs than any other event in the county. We didn't have such good relationships with the county then. In those days, things are a lot different now. We have a very good relationship with the county now. But back then, Jill said, well, that was discriminatory to just single us out from every other event. And she sued on our behalf to have them treat us the same way as other events. Either all events would have to hire more sheriffs, or we did not have to. So she sued the county, and she won. And we got $25,000 that we put to the down payment for the land. Both Jill and Bill were remarkable people, and we're proud to honor them with these funds. We started the Vision Fund in 1996, and it works differently than the endowment. The Vision Fund is membership-driven. We are, after all, a membership organization. At our annual board election in the fall, fair members vote on a category of agency they would like to fund. Currently, they can choose between basic needs, the arts, or sustainability and the environment. For many years, basic needs won, But the last few years, it's been sustainability and the environment. After requests for proposals are sent and proposals are received, a committee appointed by the board chooses the recipients for the year's grants. Then, during the event, we have donation boxes around the fair, and the fair community and the public make donations. After we count up the donations, the fair generously doubles what the Vision Fund has collected, and we distribute the funds. I know the most about this fund because I was one of the founders of it, and it holds a very special place in my heart. Donations from the Vision Fund go to nonprofits in Lane County, so we cover a larger area than the endowment. We've given to countless agencies over the years. To give you some examples, this year we're funding the Civil Liberties Defense Center to increase its educational trainings, which empower local environmental activists and organizations to take on issues such as climate change, risky oil and gas pipelines, and logging of old-growth forests. Community-supported shelters to install gray water filtration systems in their safe spot communities. We've been funding this since 2023, and this is the last piece of it for them. Every safe spot will now have these filtration systems after this year. Plaza Nuestra Comunidad will help pay for a garden and community engagement coordinator who facilitates educational and community building events for their 7 community organic gardens throughout Lane County. Shift Community Cycles, which refurbishes used bicycles and distributes them to area youth, will provide free bike kits that include a lock, helmet, and lights for bike recipients in need. Sayusla Watershed Council, which will provide native plants and assistance in planting to household landowners along riverways and lakes in the Sayusla watershed. These plants help restore the riparian zones and protect water quality. Now, the Vision Fund has been going since 1996, and we fund anywhere from 4 to 6 projects a year. So we've been putting out funding a lot of projects over the years. And I think we have funded like $700,000 worth of projects since we started. Culture Jam Youth Camp is our wonderful summer camp supported by the fair. Paxton will be speaking about Culture Jam, but it is one of our 4 philanthropies. And it's a wonderful program with visual and performing arts for teens 14 to 18. I'm just going to tell you a couple comments that we've received from the kids who have gone here. One of the comments is, "My favorite part was watching people bloom out of their bubbles and hold space for others to do the same." Another comment is, "What I like most about Culture Jam is the community. During these past 7 days, I have received so much love and support from those who have attended this camp alongside me. It has been a wonderful experience, unique only to Culture Jam." Another comment is, "How being yourself is the most important thing ever, and life is so much better without a phone." And as I say, Paxton will be talking more about Culture Jam. And then our last philanthropic program is our board giving program. This allows the board to give directly to agencies or groups outside of the endowment or Vision Fund through either donations or sponsorship. We used to do this by allowing groups to come directly to the board at meetings, but we found that could be very awkward. So we revamped the program this year by forming a committee of the board to review requests and approve the donations or sponsorships. This program covers the Northwest, so it actually has the largest geographic area. This year we decided, because it's covering such a large geographic area, we would actually have a focus for the board giving this year. And this year we decided to focus it on social inequity and social justice. So far this year, we are sponsoring a Juneteenth celebration at the Farmers Market Pavilion, which we hope all of you will come to. Most of our donations and sponsorships will be announced in the fall, but we are able to make donations throughout the year as needed. So if an organization has a sensitive timeline to their donation that they need or a sponsorship, we can respond to that. In other years, we, the board, have donated to PICUN, whose mission is to empower farm workers and working Latinx families in Oregon by building community, increasing Latinx representation in elections, and policy advocacy on both the national and state levels. The board has funded too many projects over the years for me to list them in any way, but they do include the Diabetes Community Care Team, Northwest Theater Workshop, Beyond Toxics, and the Northwest Theater Program, Northwest Theater Workshop. The Oregon Country Fair continues its tradition of philanthropy, which started well over 50 years ago, because it's an important part of our mission and our principles. I'm proud to be a part of an organization with these values. Thank you.
Thank you, Arna. Next up is Paxton Hogue, who will provide details about some of the programs we fund annually. Paxton.
Moving a little slowly, I'm going to be doing knee surgery after the fair, so getting new knees. Yay. I'm Paxton Hogue. This coming year will be my 58th fair. I have been a crafter, doing copper enameling in the early 70s, started Phoenix Rising Food Booth, and then became a plumber for Water Crew. I was first elected to the board of directors in 1991, have been on and off the board for half of the history of the fair. I am here to talk about our youth program, Culture Jam, and then our community radio station, KOCF. Leslie Scott, one of our long-term general managers, went to a workshop on Whidbey Island on a sabbatical and discovered the Power of Hope program and brought it back to the fair. This was the start of our youth program, which led to Culture Jam in 2002, a summer camp for youth on the fair site. In the words of the current director, Hans Ingber, Culture Jam Youth Camp is based on a proven teen empowerment model that is delivered all over the world. At its core, the camp is an 8-day community building exercises where the voices, vision, and talents of the youth are centered. We use arts to explore each of their own unique voices, style, and spark. The camp is immersed in nature with everyone having their own tent, we provide many, and space to rejuvenate. One of the most impactful elements of the camp, as reported by the teens, is unplugging from screens and having deep, meaningful, in real life connections. Arna referred to that also. It is a camp for ages 14 to 18, and scholarships are offered for low-income families. It is open to local teens, not just the fair family. It is a special philanthropic effort of the Oregon Country Fair and individual donors. Culture Jam has also sponsored one-day workshops with the City of Eugene Recreation Services for city teens in the 2000s and has a continuing relationship with the City of Eugene. My partner sent 5 grandchildren through Culture Jam, and it changed all of their lives, making them feel more confident in life. Another affair's contribution to the community has been KOCF Community Radio, 92.7 on the FM dial. It covers the Veneta, Elmira area, including Eugene. We actually reach into a little bit of Springfield also, but the South Hills are a little bit out of our coverage area. One of our first partners was Lane Fire Authority in Veneta, who hosted our antenna for several years, recognizing that local radio is important for emergency services. Now we have a similar relationship with the city of Veneta and the transmitter now positioned on Bolton Hill, which gives us a much broader coverage of the entire area. KOCF is programmed by volunteers with a wide variety of music and open to anyone that wants to come and learn programming. It also has relationships with the local school districts. Some of the activities the station has done with these schools include high school sports, creation and broadcasting of public service announcements, and broadcasting live from Elmira High School, and broadcasting a play that the Applegate Grammar School did. A lot of fun local projects. As common with low-power community radio station, KOCF is supported by the local community through fundraisers, donations, and sponsorships. It also provides free public service announcements for the local community and also runs a local calendar, so that's quite valuable to the community. I have a very fond place for KOCF, in part because it's the second radio station I helped, low-power community radio station I helped support. I also worked on KMUN in Astoria 50 years ago, so I really appreciate the communication process that radio brings to the world. Thank you. I'm pretty much done with mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paxton. Both Arna and Paxton have been actively involved in the fair for many years, and we are grateful for their contributions. We pride ourselves on our mission, which is to create events and experiences that nourish the spirit, explore living artfully and authentically on earth, and transform culture in magical, joyous, and healthy ways. The priority to buy local, support local art and education, and support our community are part of the foundation of why Oregon Country Fair started and has been successful for over 50 years. Tickets are on sale now on our website at OregonCountryFair.org or at AftonTickets.com. They are $50 per day through June 15th and then go to $60 per day, so get your tickets early. We have partnered with Lane Transit District to provide free shuttles from Valley River Center and the downtown station to and from the event, starting at 10 a.m. every day and running every 15 minutes. We encourage everyone to take the bus to reduce vehicle congestion and carbon emissions. If you do drive, you can purchase parking for $15 in advance online or $20 in cash at the gate. I will leave you with a piece written by one of our founders, Bill Wooten. It speaks to the heart of who we are at Oregon Country Fair, and we are a community by choice. It is a community by choice of reason rather than by chance of birth. Reason is found more each day on the side of cooperation, conversation, and community. Reason stands with those who reduce their wants and simplify their needs, who lessen their demands upon the world's resources. Reason stands with those who do not ask the world to do for them what they can do for themselves. Reason stands with those who treat neighbors as friends, friends as brothers and sisters, and the earth as our one and only home. Let us stand together. It stands to reason. To endure is to prevail. Thank you to Lane County for your ongoing support, and thank you to all the dedicated volunteers, artists, entertainers, and restaurateurs for making the fair a magical experience for everyone that attends. Thank you for your time today, and as we say at the fair, I hope to see you on the path. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. We'll begin our question and answer in just a few moments, but first, a special thank you to our award-winning public radio station, KLCC FM 89.7, for airing City Club programs Monday nights at 7 p.m. For those listening at home or in the car right now, your household is one of several thousand tuning into City Club on KLCC, and we love that you're here. You can also find all recent City Club programs archived on KLCC, as well as on our YouTube channel and as podcasts. We'll take a brief break and then get back for questions. Thank you. welcome back to the City Club of Eugene and our forum on the Oregon Country Fair. This is our question and answer session. Please.
Hello, my name is Rebecca McCroskey, and I've heard a lot of stories about the freakish behavior at the Oregon Country Fair, things involving Ken Kesey and nitrous oxide and things like that. I'm just wondering, what's the freakiest thing you ever saw in your tenure at the Oregon Country Fair? Thank you.
I'm not really sure I want to say what the freakiest thing I ever saw there was. You know, there's been some really fun stuff out there. The mud people, you know, in their loincloths covered in mud doing a parade. The flamingo people parade is like pretty wild. And anybody else got something else to add here?
I think our parades are one of the very best, most colorful parts of the ambience out there. Yeah, it's hard to pick the most or the biggest ones. I love our costuming, and I love the face painters and belly painters and stuff like that. It's really, really fun to see, you know, of a young pregnant woman with her baby painted on her belly. I think that is just very, very creative. It's just fun, fun, fun.
Get an opportunity to speak to this one. Well, I think what's unique about Country Fair is that we encourage people to bring their freak out, right? Come in your costume, feel comfortable expressing yourself, and being accepted in that form. So when you say freak, to me it means something more than just something that might be considered negative or bad behavior, because it's not at Country Fair. It's actually a positive where we want people to come and feel comfortable, who they are, how they express themselves, and the freakier the better. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Paul Thompson. I'm a longtime City Club member. Thank you for coming and illuminating what's going on at the fair. I was very attentive to your presentations and so on, trying to see whether the word federal was ever used. I did not hear it. And so I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of go on the record as to whether any of the antics that are going on in Washington adversely affect the fair, and if so, what are they, or if not, why not?
Thank you. I actually did bring up federal because we received the Shutter Venue Operators Grant, which was a federal assistance program due to the pandemic, and we received $1.9 million, and that really helped us get back on our feet in 2022, and so, you know, we've survived the pandemic because of the federal assistance. I would say that yes, as a small business, like any small business in this country right now, we are definitely concerned about the economic environment in our country and what that's going to mean to our costs to do business, our ability to sell tickets and generate revenue to pay for those costs. There's a lot of uncertainty in our economy right now because of the federal, some of the things that are happening at the federal level. But I think, you know, we are making decisions right now and watching the needle, so to speak, to make sure we make good decisions and have a successful fair. But we are nervous. There's no doubt about it. We're afraid that revenue is not going to be as strong, expenses are going to be much higher, and that affects our ability to then, you know, donate to our local community, our profits. Thank you.
I would like to add that we're really locally supported, and we do not take federal money as a normal as normal business. So we, well, we really appreciate the Shuttered event getting us through that grant, getting us through the times of COVID. It really doesn't affect us a whole lot.
Well, I'll also add that the federal government's current anti-DEI push does not affect us, and we will continue working on equity and inclusion
because that's what's important to us.
My name is Sharon Reed, City Club member. Paxton, I'm going to just, if I can, follow up with a very quick story. When you said costumes, I had the opportunity to meet the director of Catholic education for the island of Guam, so I would work with her, and she was working on her PhD here at the University of Oregon. She came twice during the summer, and she knew I was from Eugene, and I said, well, sister, while you were here, did you go to the country fair? And she said, yes. And I said, really, with the silver men and the, topless women at some of the food booths at that point? And I said, did you like it? I loved it. And she said, but Sharon, I was walking down the path, and she's in full habit, and she's walking down the path, and this little girl pulls on her sleeve and says, I like your costume. And she said, well, my dear, it's not a costume. I wear this every day. So whether you're a real nun or fake nun, you're welcome there. That was the question. My story. My question is, we also have friends who are fair family, and they always say, the real fair starts when all the ticketed people go home. Can you reveal to City Club and KLCC what really happens when everyone heads home and you're left with the people who occupy that space, and sometimes second and third generation? Thank you.
We have our own little community campground neighborhoods in the fair, and I've done a lot of work on trying to help develop those in the past. One of the things we did study was in our early campground studies, was that there are clusters of often up to about 30 tents, and they have a little community gathering part in them. They have both the main entrance and an exit. And so a lot of people migrate back to their own family camps and stuff like that. We have a lot of people showing costumes off in the path, and of course, everybody's hungry after the fair closes down at 7, so there's lines at the food booths and stuff like that. People don't stop wearing costumes. They continue through the night, and we've got lots. Generally, it's just fun. We're having a fun party, in a sense, that's not really part of the fair. The fair is really the events that we put on during the day. And so we're just relaxing and kind of getting from that. And just we wander around from often different areas. And some of the booths play music after, hours of acoustic music. And those are ones I try and visit, as we walk past and walk around the 8. I used to be able to go around the 8 twice in a night. And now I'm lucky to get through a quarter of it, but that's more my age than anything else. As to going back to your nun story, I want to mention something. My first partner before Lois was Helenita, and she and I started Phoenix Rising in 1973 with her children. She later retired and went on to become an Episcopal nun, and had come back and helped celebrate us at the fair booth at times. So we have involvement from all sorts of people in all ages. Thank you.
Well, I have two questions. The one is pretty easy. I heard Jameson Otten talk about how he's learned something in every place he's worked. And I just wondered if you had invited him to the fair to ride one of the LTD buses out and spend the day experiencing Eugene at its wackiest. He's the head of LTD.
I didn't catch the name.
Jameson Otten.
Oh, yeah. No, I do not actually negotiate with him. I negotiate with his marketing department. And I would hope that he would come to the fair.
Invite him. He's up for learning.
Great.
But the other question is a little more serious. So I discovered in my long life that it was much more fun to be the straight person in a crazy outfit than the crazy person in a straight outfit. I was in public schools, so, and all of you seem to have, except possibly you, have seemed to evolve from positions of sort of maximum creativity into positions that require quite a lot of standard conventional management skills. And I just wondered if you could talk a little bit about how that felt. How did you capture the inner organized you?
You could start on it.
Okay, I'll start on this one. Well, I was a creative person. I was, a weaver. I ran a business. But I ran a business. You don't get to just be a creative person generally. You have to market it. You have to have some skills in business. Otherwise, you're going to starve, no matter how brilliant and creative you are, unless you have a patron, which most people don't have. So I had some skills, I was, and you have to develop those skills. And I don't consider myself a totally serious person even now. I still feel like I've got some wackiness, and I hope I haven't lost my creativity. Even though I've retired from weaving, I have turned to painting. But those things can go together. You don't have to give up that part of you to become, you just emphasize a different part, I think, is how I see it. Because a lot of us have both kinds of skills. You can do both. And that's how I see it. And even when I was still weaving, I was on a board of directors for a weaving show where, I helped manage that show and organize that one. So I don't think they're exclusive, mutually exclusive. I think you can do both. Does that answer?
My organizational skills came early through 4-H. I was involved in 4-H and went through junior leadership program and stuff like that. My father started a 4-H horse club when he got out of the Navy in the 50s. And that really solidified me in moving that way. I also, in 1968, was the campaign coordinator for the Eugene McCarthy campaign in Clatsop, Columbia, and Tillamook counties. And that led to further kind of development of organizational skills. And it's, I started Phoenix Rising as a food booth, and that takes project management skills. So most of my stuff is really kind of oriented around project management and stuff like that. And it just grows with the organization. I probably go to more committee meetings than anybody else, not because I'm just appointed to them, because I'm interested in them. I like the feedback that I get from them, and it helps, develop the way I see the fair and the way I see that what needs to be helped grow. So I really appreciate project management skills that I've learned. Thank you.
I'm Martha Ravitz, longtime City Club member, and I've enjoyed the fair a couple of times. And I wonder how many musical stages you have at the fair on the pass, and how you choose the musicians, or do they choose you? And if you could name some of the most memorable performers you've had.
Great, thank you for that question. We have 17 stages that we program all day long during the fair. We have entertainment crews that have coordinators that are bookers for those stages. The stages usually have a specific genre or style of entertainment they're looking for. We have spoken word stages, we have vaudeville stages, and so entertainers can apply through our website, OregonCountryFair.org. We usually open those applications in early November of every year and close them down by mid to late February of every year. And from those applications, the coordinators of the stages then go through, you have to apply to each different stage. So based on the genre, you apply to each different stage. And you can apply to multiple stages. So, and a lot of times we'll take on an entertainer and program them across a couple different stages. But basically they apply to be on our stages. Our bookers vet those applications, select the candidates, and then schedule them for the stages. And I'm going to let you guys answer the rest of that question.
One of the things I think is the most important part of entertainment at the fair is our vaudevillians. We have a couple, three vaudeville stages, and they carry on the classic vaudevilles of the from the 20s and stuff like that of our past history. And that's some of my favorite stuff to go see is them working on the Ducanovo stage, and their last program of the year. They do the Ducanovo group is a theater group out of Washington, and they are scattered all across the country now, and they all come and gather for here. They all put on their show. They figure it out when they arrive and develop it. They have years and years of experience doing this. And so the very first Friday morning show is their dress rehearsal. And so we all go, those that know, go to the very last show on Sunday because they've got it down by that time.
Who's your most memorable entertainer?
Oh God, who did Puff the Magic Dragon? Come on, I can't think of his name. Peter Yarrow. That was one of the most very memorable ones. When we did, with kids up on main stage and everything, singing Puff the Magic Dragon, that's one of my favorite memories. And another one of my favorite memories, something we don't do anymore, is the Karamazovs doing their juggling show in the nude. They at the end, that was after hours, but that's one of my very favorite memories. The Karamazovs were one of our early vaudevillians and wonderful people. Tom Noddy is another, the Bubble Man is another vaudevillian who is a wonderful person. He emceed our Spring Fling just last weekend. I love the vaudevillians. That's one of my favorite.
I think I have to agree with Paxton. The vaudevillians are always my favorite because you don't get to see them anyplace else than at the fair. And I just so enjoy them. When I had a booth, I hardly ever got to see entertainment because I was just in my booth all the time. So I would get to see some stuff after closing hours, but that, I just didn't get to see some. I don't think we mentioned the ambiance entertainers that we have just walking the path. Not only on our stages, we have performers who just walk along the path. We hired them, and they just walk along the paths performing. And they're just wonderful, too. And we've had various ones, magicians and singers and, all kinds of performers like that. And plus, also along the path, you'll see children performing who are just doing it on their own, busing and playing the violin for donations. And it's a great place for kids to be able to do that because, where else are they going to be doing this? And it's encouraging for them, people stop and, watch and give them good, vibes for it and, congratulate them, give them money, it's great for that. And I always enjoy watching the kids perform, even if they're not really skilled. But I guess the vaudevillians are really my favorite, too. I can't really say any other. I've seen so many performers out there, over the years, and I can't really come up with anything else. Thanks.
I'll add one to that. Elena, one of my Lois's great-grandkids, went through Culture Jam, and then she also came and just showed up through regular admission, brought her girlfriend and 2 guitars, and they sat there and played on the path. And that's one of the things that's most important about the fair.
I had a wonderful, Joel Corin, City Club member. I had a wonderful question, and Marty asked it. So I have to, with respect to the first question about freakiness, I would like to remind you that the statute of limitations has run on all of those things. So you can talk more freely. We usually go out on Friday, and one of the things that impresses me most is when you see the people who work at the fair hugging each other, telling them to have a good fair. Could you talk about the community of the people that go there and who work there year after year after year, and what it means to them to have that community?
It is a wonderful community. I dearly love it. I go out there working pre-fair and post-fair. One of my favorite times is the last week where we tear the fair down and put it away for next year. But it's the community is, we've been working together and developing this thing for a long, long time. And we really just enjoy working together. One of the things I've realized about the fair is that we all realize that together we can make something greater than we can do individually. And so we get together and do it. We have our own problems, you know, throughout the years and conflicts and stuff, but when it comes down to fair, we dig in and do it. We're there to both perform, develop, and entertain, you know, all of it.
Well, it's a joyous event, and we come out there to do that, to be joyous and you know, have a great community. And it's the community, as a professional craftsperson, which I was for 40 years, I went to tons of events all over the country. Nothing's like the country fair, because they don't have that community that we have. And, you know, there are some people I see at the fair that I only see once a year. And that's true with a lot of people, because people live all over the country who come to the fair. And so it's so exciting to see old friends, you know, and you really get that, you know, oh my God, I haven't seen you for so long, hug, 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 you know. I mean, it's like lots of hugging and kissing at the fair. And, you know, we're so happy to see each other and come together again for this event and work together and, you know, really enjoy each other's company. It's as I can say, I just can only describe it as a really joyous community. As Paxton says, we have our differences. You don't put this many people together and not have differences, you know, and conflict. But, you know, we do work through it, you know, and we try to just, you know, get through that conflict and just still enjoy each other's company.
And I just wanted to add one little more thing on that, and that is that we're a multi-generational community, meaning that, you know, children were raised in this community and they bring their children back to be raised in this community, and their children bring their children back to be raised in this community, and that creates the multi-generational community and the commitment to being a part of this over the many, many years that they have participated. And that sense of community is just creating itself every generation by being handed down from the previous generation.
Time up.
On this point of community, if you want to learn more, there's actually a dissertation on the Oregon Country Fair, and its title is Oregon Country Fair, the Once-a-Year Community. And I don't think that's a coincidence. That's in the special collections at the University of Oregon, so check that out. 206 pages plus a CD-ROM. I don't vouch for what's on the CD-ROM. Mark, you have the last question.
You just answered it. I was going to ask, has someone written a history of the fair? And if no one has, other than this dissertation, perhaps it's time.
There are two books about the fair by Susie Przansky. Titles are Fruit of the 60s and the other one. Fruit of the 60s is the first one, and then there's a second volume too. And she did a lot of research, and they're very good books if you really want to read a history of the fair.
Brigadoon is the second one, and you'll find me in those also.
Right, you'll find and me.
Lots of our histories. It's really fun stories. We really started out of the alternative community here in Eugene, and that was based around Bill and Cindy Wooten and the Odyssey Coffee House. The very first fair was done, Ron and Robin Ulrich were the ones who really started it, and they were involved with the community school in 1969, and that's who got us into starting this event. I worked that very first one. And then we, at that point, they dropped out, and the fair, you know, the primary organizers from that point on, started really, you picked Bill and Cindy to help develop it when they found the site, our current site, in the fall of 1970. And they developed the fair really for the first 7 years, going through the 70s. It was very, very interesting, challenging times because we didn't own our property. We rented the land every year. We had to be out by midnight on Sunday. Well, finally out on Wednesday, but it was, I was a booth person that time, and we were supposed to leave by Sunday, you know, midnight. Anyway, it was, and then after many years, we ended up being able to buy the property, and that is when we really started building community, and started building all the services that we need to run the fair. It was a wonderful, exciting times in those early days.
We have, after Bill and Cindy, as Paxton said, that, you know, another group formed. They're considered the main camp of the fair, who were the sort of the founders of the fair. 2 of them are here with us. They didn't want to speak, but they're here with us. Sandra Bauer and Ron Chase, and I just want to acknowledge them because we wouldn't have a fair without them.
That's all the time we have for today. Please join me in thanking our speakers. This has been the May 16th, 2025 conversation at the City Club of Eugene. A couple of reminders. Ballots. Your real ballot has to be turned in by Tuesday. All right, so get that in. And then your City Club ballot, also important, has to be in by next Friday for new board members, so thank you. We are off next Friday in honor of Memorial Day, but we'll return on Friday, May 30th for one of City Club's most beloved traditions. That's the annual meeting and the Turtle Awards, which are bestowed upon locals that have stuck their necks out for the betterment of our community. In advance of Memorial Day, I wanted to share a brief remembrance with you all. I don't know how many of you have had the chance to visit Columbus, Ohio. It's a fellow Big Ten city now, so hopefully you will soon if you haven't yet. But if you visit, you'll find on the grounds of the state capitol a solemn space known as Veterans Plaza. The plaza consists of a large grassy lawn meant to commemorate the traditional parade ground atmosphere of a military post, flanked at either end by an Ohio limestone wall inscribed with actual correspondence from Ohio military personnel involved in conflicts overseas. I want to share one of these letters with you from Private First Class Charles Colby to his son. He's serving in the Pacific during World War II. Dear Bill, in just 21 days, you'll be 8 years old. Perhaps by the time you get this letter, if you ever do, and it's extremely doubtful, you'll be getting right along toward 9 years. I wonder. As I write this, I'm in my office about 300 feet under the ground. Outside is the tunnel, which is hewn out of solid rock. I can hear the air rushing. I've just come back from a long trip all alone at the front. I saw a few of my old friends. So many more are gone. They were brave men, fellow. The kind of guys I'd like you to be when you grow up. All of the troops have stood up in great style under the worst kind of punishment. We all, Americans and Filipinos alike, look to America for support. And we know that America won't let us down, just as we have not let her down. You see, son, it means a lot to be an American, and I want you to be a good one. It will be a long, long time before I see you and your mother again. There's no more I can say. Be good, study hard, and don't forget me. Happy birthday, boy. Dad. This week, we remember Private First Class Charles Colby of Powell, Ohio, and all like him throughout our history who answered the call of duty as Americans, never to return home. God bless them and their families. God bless America. Have a good weekend. See you next time.